Cutting Wike down to size key to resolving Rivers crisis. Baba Aye speaks. Comrade Baba Aye, veteran trade journalist and activist, is a co-convener Coalition for Revolution (CORA) and a council member Progressive International (PI). Baba Aye, former Deputy National Secretary, Labour Party, and former National Convener, United Action for Democracy (UAD) during the June 12 struggle, and member National Implementation Committee of a Campaign for Democracy (CD), spoke to Ejikeme Omonazo on current issues and the polity, including the recent suicide bombing in Borno State. They asked him, the latest suicide bombings in Gwazo, Borno State, caught security agents napping. What do you think about the incident? He replied, these developments cannot but fill one's heart with sadness. My thoughts and sympathies go to the loved ones of the over 30 people murdered in the over 30 people that died in that synchronized suicide bombings. The extensive use of women and girls to carry out suicide attacks over the years is a pointer to the heartlessness of a top hierarchy of Boko Haram strategy. Between 2014 and 2017, for example, they used over 200 females for this purpose. That is the highest number of the use of female suicide bombers of any terrorist group in the world. Some of them were either kidnapped and then coerced or brainwashed. That being said, it is also important to note that this recent development is a pointer to the point we have always made, that it will be an illusion for the Nigerian government to think that it can defeat insurgency in the Northeast military without addressing the underlying cause of impoverishment, disillusionment, and illiteracy in the region. There will always be a material base for the sect to replenish its forces in one way or the other and operate. Some House of Representative members have called for a return to regionalism and a single term of 6 years for presidents and state governors. Okay, they asked him, some House of Representative members have called for a return to regionalism and a single term of 6 years for presidents and state governors. What do you think about this call? He replied, this is a Yoruba saying, there is a Yoruba saying about the foolishness of those who live leprosy to battle over current scabies. Is the fundamental problem facing the poor masses in Nigeria that of governance structure? Is it not more about mass hunger, suffering, hopelessness, and the economic structure which generate this reality for the immense majority of the population? Those making the call know why they're making it. It is not because they have the interests of the people at heart. If they do, what they should be talking about is how to ensure that the resources of a country are used to provide for the welfare and well-being of the working class people. No capitalist regime will willingly do this, irrespective of the governance structure. Even the welfare state in post-World War II Europe was not constructed out of the benevolence of the capitalists in those advanced economies. They were afraid of workers' power and gave that as a concession. You can see that they have largely rolled back those concessions with neoliberalism. So if you ask me, instead of talking of returning from the kingdom of Satan to that of the devil, I will simply say that we'll overturn this hell we're living in. What we need is a government of the working people with state power vested in democratic bodies of delegates elected from the workplaces, farms, and communities of the people, who are easily recallable if they compromise the collective will of the liberated working class people. They asked him, how do you think the protracted River State crisis will be permanently resolved for peace to return in that state? He replied, the situation in River State is a graphic picture of the self-serving nature and arrogance of the band of crooks ruling our country. This tragic coma unfolding there also showed you that party and party discipline mean nothing. All that matters is money and power. The PDP has not been able to call Nyesom Wike to order simply because of the money he has lavished on them and the position he occupies in an APC government. There can be no resolution of the wahala in that state if Wike is not cut down to size. The problem is who will bail the cat. The governor seemed for flexing of muscle over the local government chairman does not seem to have given the result he wanted. People were murdered. Their blood is in the hands of the elite fighting that are making people at the grassroots bear the brunt of this nonsense. President Bola Tinubu is equally culpable and should be held to account. The kite of state emergency which they are floating must not be allowed to land. Peace cannot be brought to bear without justice and the people taking to the street to say enough is enough. They asked, discussions are on over the plan to purchase 2 presidential jets for the president and vice president. What is your take on this? He replied, this is a further confirmation of what I was saying earlier. It is not that there is no money. It is that those really not think they have a right to enjoy till infinity, but the working class people are born to suffer. The funny thing is that these same people have already rubbed us blind, claiming to be businessmen, but they will never stop feeling entitled to keep milking our patrimony. Is it not the same Bola Tinubu that his wife Remi was saying that you're already rich and do not need Nigeria's money? Their insensitivity to the people's situation is only matched by their arrogance in demonstrating this. That is also how you saw the Senate president saying that no blackmail can stop the approval of presidential jets. This is the same man of the off-the-mic fame. The problem is that they do not mind us simply complaining, so long as they get away with what they're doing. We must not only reject this use of our resources, we should have demonstrations on the street already to stop it. They asked, with the way Nigerian policies is being played, what do you think the leftists can ascend to power in the state? And the FG, what do you think are their challenges? He replied, this is an interesting question. Once again, it is important to be clear about what we're talking about. There are leftists and there are leftists. There are those who want to reform the capitalist system. They have the illusion that this system builds on and which runs on the basis of the continued exploitation of working people could just be made to work for those it was designed to exploit. Those sort of leftists, and they are by far in the majority, have fine-tuned the art of talking left but working right. You will see them in the exploiters parties, APC and PDP, and in their ideological satellites, including the Labour Party. They will give a justification for entrism and claim to be in the war of position, but they're actually just in their personal wars for position and further enrichment. With such leftists, you hardly need writers. Revolutionary leftists, on the other hand, whom you find in parties like the AAC, the African Action Congress, and the PRP Vanguard, are fully committed to a root and branch transformation of society. We are not for cosmetic makeovers of exploitation. We want to raise the consciousness and self-organization of the working people to end the exploitation and oppression that have been a lot. While a handful of parasitic capitalists appropriate the fruits of our labor, naturally in the periods of normalcy, we are in the minority of politics because politics are shaped by ideas, and the dominant ideas of all ages are the ideas of the dominant classes. However, behind the normalcy of capitalism are severe contradictions which reforms cannot overcome. Alright, on this note, you've come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen. Until I come your way next time, enjoy the rest of your day.